Welcome to the Salt Talk with Jermine Alberty, where service, affirmation, love, and transformation meets real life. After you approach this holiday season, when so much attention is placed on gifts, I want to pause and name something that we don't talk about enough: the gift of family. Not that perfect version, not the curated version, but the real one, the complicated, unfinished, honest version. And what better way to honor that gift than by doing what we don't do enough: having honest conversations with each other. That's why this Salt Talk episode is so very special to me, because this is a special two-part series rooted in family. In part one, I sit down with my father, Jimmie Jones, for a raw conversation about temperament, trauma, faith, survival, and legacy, and what it means to take a lick and keep on ticking, and how God, resilience, and responsibility shape a man over time. In part two, I sit down with my brother, Jimmy Marks, for an equally vulnerable conversation about shared rooms, unspoken experiences, love, incarceration, healing, and hope. And we explore how two people can grow up in the same family and still have very different lives, and how faith, quiet love, and resilience can interrupt cycles that could have turned into bitterness. Together, these conversations wrestle with nature versus nurture, the power of childhood experiences, and the truth that while our past informs us, it does not have to imprison us. This series is not about blame, it's about understanding, healing, and choosing connection. So this holiday season, my hope is simple: that these conversations remind us that family, when met with honesty and grace, can still be one of the greatest gifts we give and receive. Stay with us. This is Jermine Alberty, and you're listening to The Salt Talk. Well, welcome to part one of our series. I want to welcome my dad, Jimmie Jones, to The Salt Talk.
How you doing?
I am doing good. So I want to begin with your childhood, and I want you to tell me about a moment from your childhood that shaped the way you see yourself today.
As a child, you don't put two and two together until later in life as you grow up
Right.
and as you learn things. Okay? Life lessons are taught for you to either learn or you're going to keep repeating them over and over. My whole thing was, I don't like repeating things. So my thing is to learn the lesson, to advance myself and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had that attitude. I had that double standard where defending myself was more or less a bad thing for me, because I'm supposed to walk away. I'm not supposed to get angry. I'm not supposed to defend myself. I'm supposed to be man enough to walk away.
So let me jump in here, because this is the whole thing about Freud has this theory, nature versus nurture, meaning that there's just some things that are innately in us that we have no control of. Right. Our DNA, our behaviors. Right. And there are some things that we are learned, we are taught. But when it comes down to me and your relationship growing up, of course, he was always around us, roundabout way, always around,
Right.
but didn't directly teach me anything directly, Jermaine, this, indirectly.
Right.
But and of course with Jeremiah, you been around Jeremiah a little bit,
Right.
but never taught him directly, Jeremiah, this. You had conversations. Right. But I find funny though is, as I think Jeremiah is your child. Because I want to say that because he reminds me a lot of you. Like, I know you didn't teach him these things, right, but your DNA like runs in him, like it runs in me.
Right.
And one of the things is temperament.
Right.
Like that. Like
He's more or less like a raging bull in his honey pot.
yeah.
He's calm, but once he's pushed,
Yes.
there's no limit to it.
There's no limit.
There's no limit. There's no way that you can speak, talk, or even act or react to the way he's feeling at that time. And that's the whole thing.
Where does that rage come from, though?
But that's the thing in my life that I had to take in sequence. Because when my mother told me I was like my uncle, that supposedly killed the man with his hand.
Yeah.
This man I've never seen.
Right.
This man I don't know nothing about. My mother only spoke of me in the manner of that because of my attitude and the way my anger showed.
Yeah.
Because she whooped me with skillets, iron cords,
Oh my.
whips, and everything else. When I was 8 years old, she came and whooped me, and I stood there and looked at her. And she looked at me and she said, "You're not going to cry." I said, "For what? You just don't hit me more." And I stood there while she, about 5 minutes, whooped on me, and I just stood there. I didn't jump. I didn't move. I didn't buttle. I just stood there. Well, every time the lick hit, the sting went away. So when she kept hitting, the sting just goes away. At that point in time.
Wait a minute, man. You can't, cause you listen. Okay, so there's a metaphor in that for sure.
Right.
There's a metaphor in that, as we live our life, sometimes we get to that place where we take a lick and keep on ticking. You know what I'm saying? Like life can hurt, life can be hard, but sometimes you can be so hardened to the licks the life come. You're like, hey, it's just another lick.
It's more or less, you learn that as they teach you, life isn't fair.
Okay.
That's the scenario that we grew up in. You learn, or you go to the hard rock school learning.
So we're talking about,
So,
you grew up in the 60s because you was born in 57. So yeah, you talking about, if you 8 years old, you're talking about 1965, somewhere in that area.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that was when Black Panthers, SOS, the SOS, Black Panthers, we had all kind of street gangs back then. We had the Masons. They was in the neighborhood between Prospect, Wabash, Brooklyn, everything that was east of Paseo.
By the way, with my listeners, my dad was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. So this address, these streets that are in Kansas City, Missouri. I want to fast forward from the 8-year-old kid to the 18-year-old dude.
I turned 18.
Okay.
So
17-year-old, first child.
Yeah, but see, the thing that fed me was that when I found out my father denied me in court as his child, I prayed to God that with however many children I had, I would never deny any of my children. And if they wasn't all born up under one woman, they would learn of one another, because I wouldn't want them interswinking with one another without knowing who the father is and who the mother is.
Right.
That was just something that I looked at that made me hardened against men that don't want to take care of their kids.
So okay, that's why we laughing sometimes, because I have a thing about men who shirked their responsibility.
Right.
I was married for 27 years, and I was determined. And maybe this is something that was in me by nurture or nature, but I refused to abandon my children.
Right.
It didn't matter what was going on with their mama and me. I said, I'm gonna be in my children's life until they all get grown.
Right.
And no matter what it means for me, I'm gonna stay in their lives. And I honor that. I honor that commitment. And
The thing was,
did it.
when you was first born, my prayer to God was that all my sins stay with me, not to go to my first son. Because at that point in time, I had hatred, I had anger, I had rage. I was at the point of knowing that entrepreneur was rooted in me. It didn't make, I wouldn't let nothing stop me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care what it was.
So your prayer was, none of your sins would hit me.
That's right.
God answered your prayer, didn't he?
Yeah. I loved it. After we not love God to this day, and I'm 68 years old, I love God to the utmost. That's the reason I pray on a daily basis. And I love it because he answered the prayer that was more meaningful to me than anything. That I had a son that I wanted nothing of my sins to touch his soul. That let all whatever I do, however I was, because of my age, my anger, my rage, my temperament, everything. At that point in time, I knew the parts was there, but controlling them or getting them under hand was the problem. So when I had you, I more or less stood on the ground that I would never be a father like my father.
Uh-huh.
And I prayed no matter how many kids I have, no matter how many women that I go to, all my kids gonna know one another. And no matter whether I'm with them or not, I'm gonna stay in contact with my kids regardless. For whatever they might need. Whenever they need me, I'm coming. I made that from the beginning when you came out. Any of my kids. If I wasn't able to be with the mother, or I know how I was at that time, I knew I would be, ain't no telling. And the thing was just protect my kids, and when needed, I will protect them, no matter what.
So I think it's important for folks to know that I'm the oldest of 7 kids. My mother had 7 kids. My dad has 5 kids, including me, Jimmie, Jamar, Geronimo, and a sister named Tiffany. So those are the 5 kids that my dad has. And one of the things that Jimmie and I was talking about was this whole thing of self-sabotage. Kind of like, when you're doing good and you trip up and you find yourself back there. We was talking about kind of like where that all comes from. Like, some of it is, of course, personal responsibility, for your own actions.
Right.
But then some of it's just stuff in you that you just trip over and you don't know where it come from.
A lot of it is when growing up and learning yourself. That's really not tell you, like I told all of y'all. If it's one thing in life, be true to yourself. Because if you're not true to yourself, you can't be true with nobody else. And that's the reason old folks, when they taught me, and that's one thing that I learned from older folks, because I never could hang around people my age or 3 years older than me, could not teach me a damn thing. I learned from people 40, 50 years older than me. And I listened to them. Like these kids today, they don't listen. Back in our days, it took a village to raise a kid. that means you listen to the woman down the street, next door, on the next block, 3 blocks down. She could be a mile away, but if you knew your mother, you better be listening to her.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
by the time you get home from what you did and she knows your mother, you got another butt whooping coming when you got home because she didn't call your mother and let you know what was up.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, it's a whole different lifestyle.
But I've often said, though, Hillary Clinton wrote a book called Takes a Village to Raise a Child. And I've often said, nowadays, the question is, who raised the village? Okay. I got a few more questions I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to wrap up this interview. All right. So Freud said human beings are shaped by unresolved conflicts from early stages of life. Do you think there were things from your childhood or young adulthood that you had to confront as an adult? Some things from your childhood or young adulthood that you got to confront as an adult? So,
Well, child,
okay, childhood, young adult, that you got to, yeah.
as I grew up and learned that you had to be grown in order to be able to calculate and articulate the things that went on as your childhood. You had to reach an age of maturity or age of acceptance of your childhood is only a part of your growth as an adult. Your childhood can either cripple you, it can maim you, it can drive you crazy, depending on where your mindset is. And the thing with me is, I learned about my anger, I learned about my rage, I learned about manic depressants, I learned about anxiety, I learned about being bipolar as the outcome of your demeanor as an adult. Now, you can say, okay, because of this and because of that, it's the reason I'm like this. I say I took the bad and turned it to the good in my adulthood. What happened to me in my childhood through the adults that I grew and that grew me up, we was taught respect elders, elders, family, this, that, and the other. With me, if adults came around, I was the most calm, collected, polished boy. I mean, I was polished up. I was shine like a dime around adults.
Tell me what's been one of your toughest challenges and how did you work your way through it? And just what
The toughest challenges was the reality that I had to be me. Because, man, my younger days, there's people I looked at and looked up to. I mean, they ain't the best role models in the world, but they respected me and taught me the manhood of being a man and standing as a man. Period. Now, you can say what you want to say about bank robbers, thieves, robbers, pimps, working men, whatever. I classify them all as a village growing me up because there's those in robbery, bank robbery, stealing, dope dealing, working, pimping. They all had an emphasis in my life because I was around them all. And I learned from them. And all of them looked at me as, hey, for a young man, you're very intelligent because you listen. You're not like these other knuckleheads out here getting beat up and getting defrauded, getting the manhood taken and everything else. Well, I mean, I looked at it that grown folks is what made me a grown folk. They helped me to become a grown folk. So with all that I learned, even though it was from all the different fields, and a lot of it I didn't understand, but as I got older, as I grew up around it, as I experienced, was one of the things old folks always taught me. Experience is the best teacher. So, with all the experience that I gathered and pulled in, it helped me to separate and dislodge a lot of my problems as childhood, my problems growing into adulthood, my teenage years, and in the years before becoming a full adult.
So when you look at your adulthood so far, you're 68, we'll be 69 in January.
Right.
And then we're hands folded in prayer. You're going to hit 70 and then 70 and beyond.
Right.
So, but when you look at your adulthood so far, what would be what would be one of your biggest success, you think?
My biggest thing right now is keeping God first in my life and remembering my downfalls, my accomplishments, and what I can do to continue to keep praising Him first, because I'm only here through Him. I tell everybody, and I tell anybody, if you think you are that in life, put yourself to sleep and wake yourself up. Now, if you can do that, you can show me you got some power. But until then, ain't nothing you can tell.
So your biggest success in life is your
Connection with God.
connection with God. Okay.
That's my biggest thing.
Okay.
I care what I do, how I do. Lord know before I did. And as long as He keep breath in my body, I'm going to keep praising Him, and I'm going to keep doing the best I can do for Him now. Not for me. I didn't party and play out. I'm through. I'm through. All I want to do is just keep praising Him, let Him keep blessing me with these days, keep giving me these years, and hey, I'm a happy camper.
So we're going to wrap up with two questions. The last question is, I have two questions. What is your dream for the next chapter of your life? I know you want to hit 70. That's one. So what's your dream for your next chapter of life?
In the next 2 years, my whole accomplishment is I'm going to get a vehicle, have my own home, and I want to get with my children and build a family reunion with all my kids. Because my mother, that's one thing during childhood. We always had family reunion. We got kin folks in Warrensburg, Higginville. We had kin folks in St. Joe, Illinois. We had a couple of them up from Washington, but that was our thing. We would all gather together at my mother's house, and we would pick a date, and family would come all together. I mean, cousins, nephews, nieces, aunts. I mean, friends that they grew up with us in the neighborhood. We all come together that one time to enjoy family. So my whole thing now is get me a vehicle, go get me a home, get with all my kids, because most of the friends that I had is gone. So the new ones that I'm making, and we all come together, pick a date, and make it our family reunion. And from that time on, hey, try to keep committed year after year after year with grandkids, great-great-grandkids, bring it all together.
That's interesting that you have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So on this end, at least. So let me ask these. I said a couple more questions, and I would end with these two. One is, what do you want people, your children, your family, the community to say about you years from now? Jimmie is. What would you want them to say about you?
That people that truly know me know that I am a good person. I am kind-hearted. You just don't want to cross me. That's it.
So what do you hope people will take away from your story today? From this interview?
2, be true to yourself.
True to yourself.
That's the big, I don't care what mama said, what daddy said, what auntie, uncle, whoever. Be true to yourself. Find out who you are. It don't make no difference what auntie say, what daddy say, what mama say. No, find out who you are in the Lord, and you will be all right from that point on.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with this last story here, because this is a very funny man. You wonder where I get my humor from. This man told me that when he dies, to put an empty casket up front, and then have people say he was late to his own funeral.
No.
We're not doing that. We are not doing that. He was late to his own funeral. We're not doing that. But anyhow, we're not doing that. I would say this, because you have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren who will listen to this video, this interview, just tell me one thing you would want them to be true to yourself. Anything else you would want them to know about their grandpa or great-grandpa?
I'm going to tell you this. Love family. Don't never turn your back on your family. I don't care what you say. I don't care what makes you mad. I don't care who makes you mad. Never turn your back on family. Be always true with yourself to be true with them. It don't make no difference whether you a drug addict, an alcoholic, whatever. Bring it to the family, and I guarantee you, real families don't love you. They ain't going to disgrace you. They're not going to put you down. They're only going to try to help you. And my thing is, if I can't help you, I sure ain't going to hurt you.
Well, folks, you heard it from the source, Mr. Jimmie Jones. And this is Jermine Alberty, and you've been listening to the Salt Talk. That's where we serve, affirm, love, and transform each other and the world around us. This is Jermine Alberty, and you're listening to the Salt Talk.